Thousands of dead deer in South Dakota. Anti-Trump forces launch an attack on the Electoral College, and a man in New York walks away with a bucket of gold. It's SkyWatchTV for Thursday, December 1st, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. First, the UN General Assembly supports a resolution to ignore Jewish ties to the Temple Mount. They voted overwhelmingly Wednesday to pass a resolution that used Muslim language exclusively to describe the Temple Mount. Out of 193 member states, 147 voted in favor, 7 against, and 8 abstained. The 7 who voted no were the U.S., Canada, Israel, the Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Nauru, and Palau. Now, I'm reasonably well informed, and I had never heard of Nauru, which I probably mispronounced, and Palau before this story. Nauru is an island of about 10,000 people, a little northeast of Australia. Palau is an island of about 17,000 people, like Nauru and the Marshall Islands in the general Micronesia area of the Pacific Ocean, but not to be confused with the Federated States of Micronesia, referred to as Micronesia for short. In other words, on the entire planet, the only nations recognizing that the Jews had a temple on the Temple Mount 1,000 years ago, the United States and Canada, Israel, of course, and a few islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Where was the rest of what used to be called Christendom? England, Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, the rest of Europe? Well, they all voted in favor of the resolution. Australia abstained. Well, the Jerusalem resolution, so-called, addresses the situation in that city, stating that, quote, any actions taken by Israel, the occupying power, to impose its laws, jurisdiction, and administration on the holy city of Jerusalem are illegal and therefore null and void and have no validity whatsoever, and calls upon Israel to immediately cease all such illegal and unilateral measures, end quote. Zion is Yahweh's holy mountain. Doesn't matter what the United Nations says. That's where he's going to reign forever. Now, Israel in the news again as warplanes hit a Syrian army compound near Damascus overnight Tuesday. Reportedly, this is according to Arab media, they say 4 long-range missiles fired from Lebanese airspace hit a Syrian ammunition depot, destroying it. Other strikes hit and damaged a Hezbollah arms convoy headed for Lebanon. Now, none of those reports were confirmed by Israeli military sources. There are games within games being played here. We have reports that the incoming Trump administration had worked out a backdoor deal with Vladimir Putin to stabilize things along the Syrian border with Jordan and Israel. But with the progress that the Syrian government troops have made in Aleppo over the weekend, in the last couple of days, the Russian Air Force, after a 3-month layoff, suddenly began hitting rebel positions, pockets of rebels along the Jordanian border, and caused heavy casualties. So the announcement Tuesday that I told you about yesterday by Turkey's President Erdogan that his armed forces are in Syria to overthrow Bashar al-Assad might be a message from the incoming Trump administration to Vladimir Putin to back off. And Israel's attack on Damascus, assuming those reports are accurate, could be Israel recognizing that at the end of the day, Israel will have to be responsible for the security of Israel. Assuming, of course, that Hashem, Yahweh, God, and we know that ultimately he is the protector of Israel. Now, in spite of improving relations between Turkey and Israel that we've been reporting over recent months, Turkey's President Erdogan said Tuesday that it's the duty of all Muslims to embrace the Palestinian cause. Erdogan was addressing a symposium on Jerusalem in Istanbul. He said that the defense of the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount should not be left to children armed with nothing but stones. Meanwhile, Russia threatening to shoot down missiles test-fired by Ukraine. Ukraine had announced it would test-fire missiles today, Thursday, and tomorrow, Friday, near Crimea, which was annexed by Russia in 2014. Russia has put its air defense network along the Ukrainian border on its highest level of alert. Moscow has 55,000 troops in Crimea and ships based there equipped with anti-missile missiles. Well, Facebook Live led to New York City's anti-terrorism unit being called to a 5-star hotel Guests at the Gramercy Park Hotel watched as police stormed the building in response to a Facebook Live video showing guests on the 11th floor showing off their weapons. 4 people were arrested without incident, told reporters that the firearms were just BB guns. Just let this be a lesson. When you do anything on the internet, you might as well be broadcasting it to the entire world, including the responsible governing authorities. Meanwhile, the NYPD is looking for a guy who walked off with a bucket full of gold. Literally, an 86-pound bucket full of gold flakes worth $1.6 million. It was left unattended in the back of an armored truck in Manhattan on September 29th. The guy saw an opportunity, grabbed the bucket and walked off. Probably didn't even know what he had until he pried open the top of the bucket. This happened in broad daylight. The heist captured on closed-circuit surveillance cams. They watched him walking away for an hour before he disappeared from sight, and 2 months later, he still hasn't been caught. Coming up, a massive deer die-off in South Dakota, and liberals are comforting themselves with fake news. That's straight ahead on SkyWatch TV.
Coming exclusively from SkyWatch TV for a very limited time starting December 6, 2016. When you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative from SkyWatchTV.com, you'll receive the largest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history. An unprecedented value of over $400 in free books, DVDs, audio files, and the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, which includes 56 Christian classic works on PDF. All 28 episodes in Dr. Michael Lake's Understanding the Kingdom audio series, the latest version of Eastward for Windows, the 3-part Into the Multiverse television series where Josh Peck interviews Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, and nearly 3 hours of bonus interviews on video with Dr. Lake on the Sharpening Report. For your library or to give away as gifts. Also included in this biggest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history are Josh Peck's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, The Quantum Future and Extra-Dimensional UFOs. Dr. Michael Lake's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, Jericho, The Anatomy of a Stronghold, and The Shinar Directive. The new 5-part SkyWatch TV special investigative report on the books, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative. But that's not all. You'll also receive the new Best of SkyWatch Television on DVD. Over 5.5 hours of the most popular episodes in SkyWatch TV history. Travel through the multiverse on the new Best of Into the Multiverse on DVD. Over 5 hours of audio with Josh Peck on the coming Technocalypse. The best-selling book, The Final Roman Emperor. An incredible 5-year subscription to the SkyWatch magazine. 2 brand new free gift books, and the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative. For your library or to give away as gifts, an unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products. This is the biggest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history, and it's yours absolutely free when you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative for only $39.95 plus shipping from SkyWatchTV.com, beginning December 6, 2016. But be advised, this astonishing promotion is limited to first come, first serve while supplies last. So it's urgent that beginning December 6, 2016, you place your order for the new 3-book special investigative research collection. This offer is on a limited time basis and will end without notification. So be sure to visit SkyWatchTV.com to follow the updates. In the countdown to the biggest giveaway in SkyWatch TV history, the unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products while supplies last. For more details, log on to SkyWatchTV.com.
Things may look grim out there, but God is getting a remnant ready for an end times revival. Dr. Michael Lake, this week's guest on SkyWatch TV, talks about his new book, The Sheerith Imperative. For a complete listing of dates and times, log on to SkyWatchTV.com click the link in the top menu bar that says channels. And we'll get a diagnosis on the web exclusive this week of the origin of the thing we call evil. Dr. Michael Heiser talks about the Watchers and the origins of evil. You'll read about that in his forthcoming book, Reversing Herman. Almost forgot. That's this week's SkyWatch TV web exclusive, available exclusively on the web. SkyWatch TV channel on Roku, SkyWatch TV channel on YouTube, and at skywatchtv.com. Also today, another ride through the nth dimension into the multiverse with Josh Peck, one of our SkyWatch TV web exclusives. Again, SkyWatch TV on Roku, YouTube, and at skywatchtv.com. Anti-Trump forces are digging in for a last-ditch fight to prevent him from becoming the 45th president of the United States. And it looks like they're putting together an unprecedented assault on the concept of the Electoral College. They're trying to persuade at least 37 Republican electors to change their minds. Now, this could be part of a bigger agenda. If courts find that electors can switch allegiances, vote for somebody other than their party's candidate, it might create so much uncertainty about the process of electing the president that states vote to abolish the Electoral College altogether. Leaders of the effort have plans to challenge laws in the 29 states that force electors to support their party's candidate. And they also have lawyers ready to work pro bono for any elector who decides to challenge the law in those states. Now, in the states that Mr. Trump carried, he won the popular vote. And he won enough states to get 306 electoral votes. If this effort succeeds, and it's a long shot, if they can get 37 electors to change their mind, they would literally disenfranchise the majority of the people in the states that Mr. Trump carried, disenfranchising millions of voters, which might lead to a reconsideration of the Electoral College. But if we reconsider the Electoral College, I suggest that we do something to make it stronger and put more emphasis on rural areas. Look, Hillary's supporters are making an awful lot out of the fact that she won the popular vote by about 2.4 million votes. But that's only because she carried California by more than 4 million. She carried New York by 1.5 million. So, if we do away with the Electoral College, California and New York basically decide the presidency forevermore. You take out those two states, Mr. Trump wins the popular vote in the other 48 states of the Union by about 2 million. Look at it graphically. On a state-by-state level, here's who won what. Red is Trump, blue is Hillary Clinton. Now look at it on a county-by-county level. About 85% of America voted in favor of Mr. Trump. Now, this is real estate-wise, not population-wise. The point is, if we do away with the Electoral College, the people in that big swath of red in the middle there will be ruled by politicians elected by the people living in those little strips of blue along the coasts and in certain little pockets like Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, Minneapolis, Denver, and so forth. Now, Democrats who live in rural America saw this coming and tried to warn the national party bosses. Strategists say that warnings about ignoring rural voters were ignored by the Democratic National Committee. And they say that Trump won because of a surge of support in rural America. I can tell you in our little county here in southwest Missouri, about 75% of the registered voters turned out to cast votes. And since many of the countywide offices didn't even have Democratic candidates running, you can kind of guess who voted for who here. The point is, the Democratic Party focused on urban areas, and that's because of the people at the top of the party. They do not identify with people who live in rural America. You can't win if you ignore the folks in flyover land, and that's what the Electoral College is intended to prevent, or to preserve, that people who live in the big urban coastal cities, who have very different values and ways of living, don't get to rule everybody in the real America. Donald Trump, by the way, carried about 62% of the vote in rural America. So liberals, still trying to figure out exactly what went wrong, are consoling themselves. This is sort of a way of grief counseling, with something that they keep saying that they hate: fake news. Newsweek published a piece this week titled "Dispatches from the Alternate Universe Where Hillary Clinton Won." It's a collection of excerpts from pre-written stories based on the assumption that Hillary was going to win the election. Now, it's kind of disturbing when you think about it. The media is using stories that incorrectly predicted a Hillary Clinton victory to comfort themselves that things didn't go the way they wanted them to go. They don't understand that the reason so many of us voted the way we did is because, in part anyway, we are sick of them wearing their biases on their sleeves, broadcasting it to us every night as fair and balanced, impartial news coverage, keeping them honest. It was so obvious that they were in the tank for one candidate in this past election. I think that motivated more voters, especially in rural America, to get to the polls on November 8th. Most of America, when you remove the urban voters, are sick and tired of the media being in the tank for big city elitists and their bought and paid for politicians. And it's no wonder that polls show that more people hate the media than even Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. And the political fight is spilling over into a fight over advertisers and the media, between advertisers and the media, that is. Kellogg's, the breakfast cereal company, has pulled its ads from the online news source Breitbart. It's a conservative news site. The former CEO, Steve Bannon, is now a top advisor to Donald Trump. So Kellogg's said that Breitbart's readers, about 45 million of them per month, are not aligned with its values as a company. Now, Breitbart is a site I go to on a pretty regular basis. I'm wondering exactly what values I hold that Kellogg's finds offensive. I find that offensive, actually. Kellogg's makes, in response to this, by the way, Breitbart has launched a Dump Kellogg's petition, hashtag Dump Kellogg's, and is calling for a boycott of the company. Kellogg's manufactures Pringles, Eggo waffles, Famous Amos cookies, Pop-Tarts, and a number of breakfast cereals. Again, not quite sure what Breitbart is promoting that Kellogg's finds offensive, unless, of course, the folks at Kellogg's are just listening to those people in those little blue strips on the coasts. I think Breitbart's going to be fine, and I'm sure there are other breakfast cereals out there that will be more than happy to replace Rice Krispies and Raisin Bran in cereal bowls across America. And finally, researchers trying to unlock the secret of tissue regeneration so that humans might one day be able to regrow limbs, like Wolverine from the X-Men, are looking at the DNA of a lowly worm, the acorn worm to be precise. Scientists say its DNA is similar to that of humans. They say that acorn worms, since they're able to regrow every body part, might hold the key. Scientists trying to untangle its DNA to find the specific sequence that leads to tissue regeneration. My thought is that God's design was appropriate for the acorn worm and appropriate for humans. There are probably some key differences between humans and acorn worms. For example, when a human loses a finger, say, it doesn't regrow because our body's response is to cause clotting and scarring so we don't bleed to death before the finger can regenerate. And I'm certainly no expert, but there may be other issues here than just tissue regrowth. I mean, for example, we've got bones. Acorn worms have bones? Don't think so. Anyway, I'm all for finding new therapies that can help people restore a quality of life after a massive injury, especially our soldiers, first responders. But tinkering with the DNA in order to achieve that goal, just think about the law of unintended consequences. Fluke man. X-Files reference for you. Yeah. Find us on the web, skywatchtv.com, and you'll find me on the internet, derekpgilbert.com. Tomorrow, Sci Friday, we'll talk about this and other news from the world of science through a biblical lens. And until then, I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.
Many ancient prophets foresaw Abaddon rising from the underworld in this very age. The satanic human sacrifice by CERN employees in front of the god Shiva was called parody. But all occult masters understand that symbolism was a powerful invitation for a doorway to be opened at CERN.
The secret origins of CERN are nefarious to the core.
Sergio Bertolucci, the science director at CERN, admits that they're trying to open a doorway to a parallel reality, and they hope that something, unknown unknowns he calls them, will come through it. And CERN was built right over Apolliacum, where the ancients believed the doorway to Abaddon and the bottomless pit exists.
Is the bottomless pit from Revelation chapter 9 about to open? The biggest and most secretive investigation ever is set to be published, disclosing what no report has done before in Abaddon Ascending.
Technology today is being developed so that we can communicate with extra-dimensional entities.
The ancient conspiracy at the center of CERN's most secretive mission. But how will God's people, the remnant, prevail over the principalities of darkness during the final showdown between heaven and hell? Though hell may have its directive, heaven has its imperative. Increasing evidence from around the globe of miracles, healings, and prophetic visions indicate that God is already raising up an army of believers for the greatest awakening yet. Coming this December, internationally acclaimed best-selling authors and researchers Dr. Thomas Horn, author and researcher of quantum physics Josh Peck, college president Dr. Michael Lake, investigative researcher Reverend Donna Howell, and the host of Southwest Radio Ministries, Dr. Larry Spargimino. A research finale so huge and important it had to be published in a new 3-book collection. Abaddon Ascending. The ancient conspiracy at the center of CERN's most secretive mission. The Sheerith Imperative. Empowering the remnant to overcome the gates of hell.
He always has a plan. He's playing chess while the devil's playing checkers.
Final Fire. Is the next great awakening right around the corner?
There are signs all around the world right now that we are on the cusp of the next great spiritual awakening.
There is revival breaking out now where there has never been the faith.
This 3-book collection available December 6, 2016. For more details, log on to SkyWatchTV.com.